going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Kevin Jackwitz. This is the Kaged Review, and this is going to be a review for a game. I don't do many of those. As a matter of fact, I think I've only done one. And that was because I really loved the game of God of War. That would be the new one where they reconstructed the whole fighting format. And for this game review, it's going to be Darksiders 3, and it's actually for the exact opposite reason. When I got a hold of this game, I was pretty excited because I really liked the Darksiders series. Well, this is the game that decided to change a lot of things up, and I think they changed a lot of things up in the wrong direction. So to get started with this, one of the first things you'll notice when you pop this in, if you play on Apocalyptic right away, which is what I tend to do. I go for the hardest mode, and I'm a glutton for punishment. But in this case, I was a glutton for punishment way more than I expected to be. Not because of the difficulty level, but because of the game mechanics. So in this game, they decided to change a lot of things up about the gameplay. The first thing being that if you die, all the souls you're collecting to buy up your upgrades are gone. You die, all your currency's gone. That sucks. It's kind of like a lot of MMORPG games do that, but this has not been an MMORPG game. This has been your standard hack and slash fighting game, action adventure game. And so that was kind of disheartening. But then they also added this thing where if you're in a fight and you're surrounded by enemies, in the game mechanics, you can't just press your health button to upgrade your health, or to boost your health rather. You have to stop fighting completely. Sometimes be at a dead standstill before it will do it. And then you can boost your health, which again is kind of MMORPG. That causes a lot of problems, because if you're in a situation when you're on Apocalyptic, the hardest difficulty, and you're swarmed by enemies and you stop to reboot your health, guess what? You're going to get hit and die. So you run into a situation where you're already dying a lot because it's a hard difficulty. Now you're dying even more because of the stupid game mechanics they've added to this. So you wind up playing some of these areas over and over and over again, sometimes, 20, 30 times. It becomes not fun, it's tedious, it's monotonous. It takes all the joy out of the game, because no one wants to sit there and play one room all day long. So that's the first thing. And I didn't see a lot of people having as much problem as I did with some of the other game mechanics, but other game mechanic problems that I've found, for me specifically, is you have a whip that you use to fight, but it's also used to traverse areas. And with this whip, sometimes you will hit your ledge that you're swinging toward, sometimes you won't. It's very hit and miss. Sometimes when you don't hit, you die. And guess what? Other problems were they have this upgrade system for your dash now, which is essentially your block or escape or whatever you want to call it. It's the thing that prevents you from getting hit when the guy is swinging at you. And they start with a very small window, and that window of invincibility gradually grows as you upgrade it. Unfortunately for me, it didn't seem to ever work quite right. I could dash out of a lot of things and still get hit no matter where I was at in the dash. I found so many situations, because I played so many rooms often enough, that I can say I did the exact same thing at the exact same time, and I would get a different result every single time. So the inconsistency in the gameplay of Darksiders 3 really got to me. There were actually a couple of posts where I was really mad, and a couple of posts that I didn't post where I got even more mad. There were a couple of, hour or 2 hour long posts in this game where I'm doing nothing but complaining about how this game doesn't quite work right for me. And like I said, I don't know if there was something extra special that was just going wrong with this or what, but I've played enough games to know that I'm pretty damn good at hard levels. And this just was not working out for me. So there were a lot of gameplay failures there. And if you talk about the way the game is presented, graphics are not great. They did not utilize a lot of the information that they could have with the PS4. You know, Darksiders have this kind of unique look to them. It's a little bit old school. It feels a little bit old school. But they could have upgraded the graphics a lot more than they did. It looks a little bit better than Darksiders 1 and 2, but not by much. And compared to most games that you see nowadays on the PS4, it doesn't look good at all. Honestly, it just doesn't. It's pixelated a lot of times, honestly. And the landscapes weren't created very well. Some of them are very plain. I can walk around in a couple areas and it's just basic like walls and not much to it at all. So I was really disappointed in that too. Like, they just did not take the time with this game that they should have. The voice acting was actually kind of terrible at points, and at other points it was there. I noticed, like, toward the end of the game, there's a conversation between Fury, the main protagonist, and some guy, just a random guy that was thrown into the game. And his voice acting for this random guy was way better than the main character. And I'm like, why would you do that? You know, you have these hokey lines most of the game and they're done at a very subpar level. And then you have this guy who's like really good voice actor, and it just made it look even worse, to be very honest. So, if you go into this game and you start on easy, I think it's called story, or balanced, which is medium, or maybe even hard, which is challenging, I don't think you're going to have nearly the frustrations as if you buy this game and you start on Apocalyptic. There are things that are fun about the game once you either level up to like level 50 or you start on an easier mode. But if you buy this and you're one of those people like a challenge, you start on Apocalyptic, you're going to notice all the discrepancies in gameplay. And you're going to notice how things don't work quite the way they should. And I've always said, if you want to know how good a game is, play it on its hardest difficulty. Because you're going to find out how refined the fighting system is. And this was not refined that well. In lower levels, you don't have to worry about it. Or even if you eventually upgrade your levels to, like I said, probably about 50, then it doesn't really matter that much anymore either. But at the end of the day, it's a lot of grind. So, my take on this game is, like I said, it has its enjoyments. It's kind of fun if you play it on the lower levels. If you play it on the harder level, you're going to be in for a lot of frustration. And for that reason, for the reason that I picked up this game and had a lot of problems with the dash and with the fighting mechanics, having to stop fighting to add your health, I'm going to give it, I'll give it a 4 out of 10. It wasn't completely horrible, but I think they could have done a lot better. And I mean a lot better. I wouldn't even say it's an average game for the PS4. Especially at this point in the PS4. So ladies and gentlemen, that's where I'm at. 4 out of 10. I like some of the things they did with it. But overall, it just fell flat. So that's where I'm at. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you enjoyed this, hit the like button, subscribe, and share. My name is Kevin Jackowitz. Kaged Nation out.